you guys are here. My name is Carrie, and if you are a first-time guest in the room, we are so glad you guys are here. When you guys checked in this morning, did anyone see the little toy pop-up shop? Well, over the next few weeks, we are collecting toys for Mess Ministries Toy Shop. So you guys will shop with your small groups and bring toys to benefit Mess Ministries and filling their shop. And so speaking of items and gifts that we're going to ask you guys to bring, we are going to play a game today called Higher or Lower. Anyone in the room have seen Price is Right? It was honestly my favorite show growing up, so I am about to live like all of my Drew Carey dreams of hosting. So if you're not already, circle up with your small group, and there is a whiteboard and a marker. So I'm going to show you guys an item on the screen, and I'm going to ask you guys if it's higher or lower than the price I'm going to tell you, okay? So you're just going to write higher or lower, and then once you guys have it written, you're going to stand up, and then if you guys keep getting each of them right, you'll stay standing, and if you don't, then you'll sit down, okay? So let's look at the first item. This is dehydrated water. Just add water. All right. Right? If you think it is higher or lower than $9.99. You're going to write it on your board and then stand up. Higher or lower than $9.99. All right, once everyone's standing, then I'll tell you guys the price. Higher or lower than $9.99. New formula, essential for camping and survival. All right, is everyone standing? 2 more seconds, higher or lower? All right, the price is $13.30. If you guys wrote lower, sit down. And if you guys wrote higher, stay standing. All right, let's look at our next item. Gears Out Shark Snot Fidget Putty Stress Relief Cool Shark Ideas for Kids Stocking. Do you guys think it is higher or lower than $14.99? Y'all be quiet and just write it on your boards. You guys want to win. Higher or lower than $14.99? All right, once I see boards. 2 more seconds, higher or lower than $14.99? All right, and the price is $11.95 is lower. If you wrote higher, sit down. All right, let's look at our next item. This is a really cool item. I honestly kind of want this. It's a bread-shaped pillow. Who likes bread in the room? I love my bread. It's a bread pillow. All right, do you guys think it's higher or lower than $49.99? Higher or lower than $49.99? Higher or lower than $49.99? All right, 2 more seconds. All right, and the price is $28.99. It's lower. If you wrote higher, sit down. We still have a lot of groups standing. Awesome. All right, let's look at our next item. This is really cool too. Bacon strips bandages. How fun would it be to have a bacon strip bandage? All right. Do you guys think it is higher or lower than $4.99? Higher or lower than $4.99? It's a 25 count. You get a lot of bandages. All right, $4.99. All right, and the price is $8.14 is higher. If you wrote lower, sit down. All right. Now, because we have a lot of groups still standing, this last one, I'm going to ask you guys to write down the price that you think it is, okay? So you're not writing higher or lower. You're writing the price of what you think the next item is, and the person that's closest will win, okay? Let's look at our next item. This is a chicken harness, hen size with 6 foot matching leash. All right, write down what you guys think the price is. So chicken weighs 6 pounds. All right. You guys all have your prices? Let me look. Okay, I see a lot of you guys actually have the right price. All right, not you guys. No. All right, if you guys wrote down $13.99, that is the actual price of the chicken. So if you wrote $13.99, come find me outside after large group, and I'll get you guys your prize, okay? All right, well, we're so glad you guys are here. We have Jessica and Andrew leading worship, so y'all stand all back up, and let's get started.
Good morning, Transit. How y'all feeling this morning? Yeah, I was wondering why the chicken crossed the road. Now I know it's because it was in a harness and I was pulling it. Like, it's pretty cheap. I've searched the world for meaning. Come on, sing this with me. I can't explain this feeling that all our hearts are beating for something beautiful. I found you in the search. Yeah, you were right there with me. Give me a brand new start. And it's something beautiful. Come on, sing it. Now I can breathe. My fears released. Now I am free. Why? Because of you. This is what it feels like. This is what it feels like to know you, to know you. If this is what it feels like, come on. If this is what it feels like to know you, to know you. If this is what it feels like, come on. Count me in. Count me in. Count me in. Gave a life worth living. Gave me a song worth singing. And this is just the beginning of something beautiful. Come on, sing it out. Now I can breathe. My fears released. Now I am free because of you. This is what it feels like. This is what it feels like to know you, to know you. If this is what it feels like, come on, hands up. If this is what it feels like to know you, to know you. If this is what it feels like, come on. Count me in. Count me in. Count me in. Your cross made a way for me. Come on, start low. Oh, the mystery that heaven knows my name. My story will always be that you rescued me, and I'll never be the same. Your cross made a way for me. Oh, the mystery that heaven knows my name. My story will always be that you rescued me, and I'll never be the same. I'll never be the same. I'll never be the same. I'll never be the Count me in. Count me in. Count me in. Count me in. You can count me in. Man, y'all sound awesome this morning. We're gonna sing this next one. It's called Bigger Than I Thought. And it made me think of a verse that I read talking about how his thoughts about us are more than the grains of sand. He's thinking about you right now. That's crazy. Each and every one of us. It's just the coolest thing to know that no matter what, he's thinking about us. Sing this with me. Speak to me when the silence steals my voice. You understand me. You understand me. Come to me. Come just leave the rest in the Father's hands. Lord, we thank you for that this morning, that we can rest in you and know that the distance, the gap between you and us is not closed by our efforts. It's not closed by what we do, but it's closed by surrender. It's closed by letting go of control. We thank you for that we can just rest in your hands and your embrace and who you are this morning and every day, in that freedom. Just thank you for that, Lord. It's in your name. Amen. You guys check out this video. You be seated.
What is up, Transit? How y'all doing this morning? You good? You good? Awesome. You guys sounded amazing during worship, so thanks for singing loud. My name's Corey, and I'm on staff here. Hey, I'm on staff here with Transit, and it is so good to get to spend some time together this morning. And I know we say it like every week, but I believe Transit is the best place to be on a Sunday morning. So I want everybody to look to your left and say, hey, what's going on? All right. Now everybody look to your right and say, I'm so glad you're here. Yeah. All right. And then another reason I love middle schoolers, I love getting to work with you guys. Carrie talked about a little bit ago the toy drive that we're starting this morning. I'm going to give you a lot more information about the toy drive in just a minute, but I love the middle school generation because it's your generation that's going to make a difference in the community. You guys want to do something and make a difference. As middle schoolers, your generation is going to change the future. I see it happening. I know your hearts. I know you want to make a difference. And it's things like the toy drive that make that so exciting. And then the last reason I really love middle schoolers is the new opportunities that you get as middle schoolers. You get to make decisions in your life. You get to decide, I want to try a new hobby. I want to do something different. I want to get better at this skill, and you have all these new decisions that you get to make, and there's all these opportunities to try out a new sport or a new skill or a new club, and you start to do these things and try new things on. And for me, when I was in middle school, that was this for me. And this skateboard is well loved, but this is not my skateboard. I borrowed this from a friend of mine. You might know him. His name's Frank. He works on our staff here. Frank's pretty cool, but he let me borrow his skateboard. But when I was in middle school, this was a new opportunity for me. I saw a lot of my friends were getting into skateboarding. They were kick flipping and ollie-in and all the flipping all over the place. And I was like, well, if I'm going to be cool, if I'm going to try out this new opportunity, like I got to get on the skateboarding team. Like I got to get on the whole like crew. And this, you can tell how cool I am right now by how I'm talking about skateboarding. So I got myself a skateboard, and y'all, I'm not going to do it this morning because I would break my back, but I can't even stand on this. Like, if I were to set this down and stand on it, it would go that way, I would go that way, and it would be very, very sad. But this, for me, was a new opportunity in middle school where I was like, I got to get cool, and I gotta learn this new opportunity. And that was the moment that I realized all of us are not created equal. And we are not on the same playing field anymore in middle school. Like in elementary school, everybody was generally like equally as bad at sports. And everybody was equally as bad at art. So like there was just kind of a general, like everything's very kiddie. But in middle school, you're not on the same playing field anymore. Like there are some people that are really, really good at skateboarding. And there are some people that are terrible at it. Now, for me, if you're anything like me, I get really down on myself when I'm not good at everything. If I have a skill or something I'm not good at, like skateboarding, I don't like that. If I'm not good at everything, I'm upset about it, and it's not a level playing field anymore. And I realized in middle school, I'm not good at everything. And maybe you've realized that as well. Like, you're not good at everything anymore. Like, there are differences between you and the guy or the girl sitting next to you, and they might be good at something that you're not, and you start to get really, really down on yourself. And this, to take it another step further, this gets bigger than just skateboarding or skills. This gets into like your life, and that your life is actually different than people next to you. And maybe your parents are going through a divorce, or maybe you moved towns. Maybe your grades are starting to slip a little bit, and you're like, man, I'm really trying in school, and I just can't make the grades that I used to make. And you're thinking, man, I'm just not good at everything anymore. And we start to think, oh, if I'm not good at everything, it consumes your thoughts. And we think this thought right here. We think we get so consumed and so focused on what we can't do and what we don't have. So you start thinking, well, I don't have the perfect family. I don't have the skills. I don't have the grades. We get focused on what we can't do and what we don't have. And you look to the left and to the right and you start comparing. You start to notice differences. And then maybe you tell yourself, well, because I can't do things, because I don't have things like everybody else has, well, then I'm not good enough. And then if we take this a step further, you go, man, because I'm not good enough, what difference could I really make in the world around me? There's so many needs. There's so many things that we see when we look around the world. If I'm not good enough, what could I possibly do about these things that are happening on the world around us? And we're going to look at a few of these, like social problems, social injustice, environmental needs, injustice around us. There might be a kid sitting alone at lunch, and you see that, and you go, I want to do something about that, but I'm not good enough. Like, what can I do to help that kid? Maybe you see somebody that has a difficult home life where they get home from school and things are not good, and that breaks your heart. But you go, man, like, I'm not good at everything. What can I do to help somebody that's being bullied? Like, I'm being bullied. What can I do to help them? I'm just not there. And then you ask this question, what could one average person like me possibly do to make a difference? You look around at the community and you go, man, there are so many needs. There's this huge need that we need to do something about, but I'm just some average guy. I'm not good at everything. Like, what do I possibly have to offer that moment? I want to tell you a story this morning about a guy, a boy about your age, and he didn't have much. Nobody expected much from him either, but what he did was pretty surprising. And this story starts with Jesus teaching all over the place. He's moved from town to town teaching, and when Jesus taught, he would move from like the place that you were listening to him, he would go to another town, and you wouldn't go home from that place. Like, you would follow Jesus to the next town. So if you think about like your favorite band, if your band plays a show in one town, they go to the next town, and you are such a big fan, like you travel to the next town with them. And then the town after that, you follow your favorite concert, your favorite band from concert to concert. It's similar with Jesus. He's teaching these crowds, and they're following him from one town to the next, and the crowd gets bigger, and then it gets a little bigger still. And that's where our story picks up about this boy, about your age, didn't have much. And he thought, maybe there's something he could do. When Jesus looked out, he saw a large crowd, had arrived. And he said to Philip's one of his disciples, his kind of crew, his inner circle, his best friends, he had 12 of them. He said, Philip, where can we buy bread to feed these people? And so it was about dinner time, and they've been traveling a lot. This crowd has gotten to be pretty big, and Jesus is looking out over the crowd, and he's going, hey, we need to take care of our people. They're probably getting hungry. What can we do about it? Philip, where can we buy bread to feed these people? And Philip looks back at Jesus, and he says this. He goes on. He says, Philip answered, 200 silver pieces wouldn't be enough to buy bread for each person to even have a piece. So Philip's looking at Jesus, and he's going, hey, 200 silver pieces, that's like 8 months of hard working to earn that kind of wages. 200 silver pieces wouldn't be enough. And by the way, we don't have 8 months to earn the money. We need the food right now, Jesus. That's not even enough to get somebody a piece. This crowd is huge. One of the other disciples, it was Andrew, brother to Simon Peter, if you wanted to know who Andrew was. He was another disciple there. He said, hey, Jesus, there's a little boy here, and he has 5 barley loaves of bread, basically loaves of bread, and 2 fish. But that's a drop in the bucket for a crowd like this. Andrew's saying to Jesus, like, hey, there's a boy, and he walked up with his lunch. He's got 5 pieces of bread and 2 fish, but like, do you see the need that is out here? Do you see the thousands of people that are gathered? Like, there's this huge need. Like, what are we possibly going to do about that? And they probably started to get a little bit panicked, and they go, look at all these people, and you want to feed them, and we don't have the money, and we don't have the resources. We've got 5 loaves of bread and 2 fish. And I don't know about you, but if I were in the circle with the disciples, I'd be panicking. Because for me, when I'm hanging out with my friends, we're not really having a good time unless we're eating a meal together, eating snacks together, something like that, eating chips and queso. Anybody chips and queso fans out there? Yeah. So when you're hanging out with your friends, you want to have a good time. You got to have some snacks. You got to be eating something around the kitchen table. So all the disciples are going, listen, this is very, very early in Jesus' ministry. Like, he's just started to travel around. They want it to go well, and they don't have anything. And so they're panicking. Maybe they're worried the crowd's going to get a little hangry. Who gets hangry when you're really hungry? Hungry and angry all at the same time. Me too. Like, I have snacks in my desk because I don't want to get hangry. So the disciples are going, we don't want the crowd to get hangry. We need to figure this out. This is a huge need, but we don't have the resources. What are we going to do? The fish and the bread is just a drop in the bucket for the needs. And then the story goes on, and Jesus says, have the people sit down. And the disciples probably lean in, and they're like, Jesus is going to tell them we don't have enough food. They're going to have to go home. He's going to have to stop teaching. He says, have the people sit down. There was a nice carpet of green grass in this place, and they sat down, 5,000 of them. That's a lot of people. That's more people that are in the building right now here at church, like by a lot. 5,000 people. Then, this is where it gets interesting. Jesus took the bread, and having given thanks, he gave it to those who were seated. He did the same with the fish. Don't miss this. Everyone ate as much as they wanted. There's this huge need, 5 loaves of bread and 2 fish from this boy's lunchbox. And Jesus says, sit down, and begins to pass out the bread, and to continue passing out the bread, and to continue passing out the bread and the fish. And they all eat, not just a bite, as much as they wanted. That is incredible. That boy was probably so shocked at what just happened with 5 loaves of bread and 2 fish and 5,000 people. He probably had no idea that that was a possibility. The disciples' jaws probably hit the floor. They were so taken back by what they just saw. They saw a miracle where Jesus did something with so little that met a need for so many people, and it didn't stop there. The story continues on. When the people had eaten their fill, he said to his disciples, gather the leftovers so there's nothing wasted. There were leftovers, more food than they could ever eat. There were 12 large baskets full with leftovers. So none from the 5 barley loaves. At that point, the people realized God was at work among them in what Jesus had just done. Don't miss that last line. I'm going to read it again because I was stumbling on my words. The people realized that God was at work among them in what Jesus had just done. So not only was it enough that Jesus fed 5,000 people with 5 loaves of bread and 2 fish from a little boy's lunchbox, not only was it enough that there were 12 large baskets of leftovers, but then people began to connect the dots. And they said, this was a huge need. This little boy's lunch was so small, and God was at work among them. So from bread and fish to God is moving and God is working was the connection that people started making, that they were in the midst of something incredible happening. And what the boy and what the crowd realized was this big idea for us this morning, that Jesus can do a lot with the little that I have. Everybody say that with me. Jesus can do a lot with the little that I have. And that is what the point of what we're talking about this morning. And that's true for you, and that's true for me, no matter how hard it is to believe that. When you look to the left and to the right and you go, I'm not enough. Like, Jesus can do a lot with the little that they have, but does he know how little I have? Does he know how messed up my life is? It's true for you. Jesus can do a lot with the little that you have. And the problems of the world feel so big. The problems of the community or your school or your family feel so big. But will you trust that God is enough? even when you feel like you're not enough. And that boy had no idea in the story what Jesus was about to do in that story way back then. But you, students, you have no idea what Jesus wants to do with the little that you might feel like you have. And you feel like it might be this small. You don't have much to give. You don't have resources. You don't have skills. You don't have this, you don't have that. God can do so much with the little that you have, and you have no idea what hangs in the balance. And so we're going to put this into practice for the next few weeks with our toy drive. And I told you I was going to tell you more about the toy drive, but we've got the Transit Toy Drive where we're going to support Must Ministries. But what I want you to do with this toy drive is to not only just think about, well, I'm going to bring in a toy and hope that it makes a difference, and who knows what a couple toys will do. And we've got a lot of people in the room, so if everybody brings one toy, like that's a lot of toys. But when you look around Atlanta, there's a huge need for kids that don't have enough, that won't have a great Christmas, that are struggling at home. There's a huge, huge need. And even if everybody brings a toy, like, gosh, what could we do to dent that huge need? But if we think about our bottom line today, that Jesus can do a lot with the little that I have, your one toy might be the first time that a kid feels loved. Your toy that you bring to Transit for the Transit Toy Drive might be the first time that that kid has something of their very own, and they've never had something of their own ever before. When you bring something in, you're gonna make a kid's Christmas better because of that seemingly small gift. And maybe your group is super blessed and you're like, our group's gonna bring like 100 toys in, like that's awesome. Maybe your group is struggling a little bit. Maybe you don't feel like you have the resources, or you have to raise money to go shopping for the toy drive. Those seemingly small moments, Jesus can take and do incredibly huge things with if we trust him to do it. And so for the toy drive, we're gonna ask you with your small group and small group leaders, get together, plan a place to go shopping. Maybe it's Walmart, Target, maybe you go to the outlets, maybe you go to Costco, whatever you wanna do. But we're gonna go shopping for toys together, and then we're gonna bring them back to Transit over the next few weeks and see how many toys we can get. We're gonna try to meet a really, really big need with some seemingly small moments together, but it's gonna spiral and turn into this really big thing, and it's gonna be incredibly awesome. So trust that God is enough, and kids will feel loved because of what you get to do with this toy that you bring in for the Transit Toy Drive. So I challenge you to do that, and kids will feel loved. Trust that God's enough, and believe that Jesus can do more with even the little that you have at times. Y'all can go to small groups and talk about it. 7th graders actually stay in the room. 6th and 8th graders, you guys are gonna head out to small group, talk about that. No, sorry. No, you gotta go small group.
Let's drive around town on 2 hands, and you need to know you're the only one. Alright. And you need to know that you keep me up all night. All night. Oh, my heart hurts so good. I love you, babe. So bad. So bad. Oh, my heart hurts so good. I love you, babe. So bad. So bad. Matt cooling on my clothes.
All right, 7th graders. What's up, y'all?
Hello. Oh.
Hey. Say hi to Kate, everybody. This is Kate.
Hi, guys.
Yeah.
What's up?
We wanted to keep you guys back for just a couple minutes. We're going to get you to small groups, but we wanted to explain a little bit about an opportunity that is specific for our 7th graders here at Transit, and it's called Global X Journey. And what that basically means is we want to give you all the opportunity to take what we talked about this morning even a next step farther, and this is going to happen in the summertime after the school year, July 17th through the 23rd. A Transit Journey is a fancy way of just saying a mission trip where we're going to go to Arizona, and we want to invite you guys to join in on that. And you get to come away for a week, and we're going to serve. We're going to meet some kids and do some like Bible story stuff. We're going to do some construction, some painting, some landscaping. We don't know exactly the projects yet, but It's an opportunity to get away, go to Arizona, into a new culture, new community, and give back and make a difference there. And that's special just for transit, just for 7th grade. But I'll tell you, when you can go away and serve for an entire week, it is so life-changing. So that's why I brought Kate here. She's actually been on this trip before.
Twice.
Twice.
I loved it so much, I went back.
It's perfect. So share some of your experience, and I'll give you some details at the
Yeah,
end.
so anyone ever been on a mission trip before? A few of you guys.
Cool.
I see some leader hands in the air. I hadn't when I was your age. I didn't go on my first mission trip until, honestly, after I graduated college, so not that long ago. But it's just an awesome experience. I think sometimes, specifically with this trip, so what we do with y'all, we travel to the Navajo Indian Reservation, and it's massive, but we travel to a specific city on this reservation called Chinle. But before we do that, we go to the Grand Canyon, so that's definitely something I want to say. Anyone ever been to the Grand Canyon? Yeah, it's so great. If you ever want to like put yourself in a situation where you see just how big our God is, like you just stand right on the edge of the Grand Canyon. It's like unbelievable. So we start there, and then we travel to the Indian Reservation, and y'all, it kind of feels like you're in a different country. I think that's what's so unique about this particular trip. There was a small part of me when I signed up for this trip that was hoping that I'd get assigned to Africa or Costa Rica or this place that was real far away that I had to get on a plane and go across an ocean and go and help these people. You don't have to do that. You don't have to even leave your country. And that's why I love this trip so much, is like it kind of felt like we were helping people in our backyard, like people that live within the United States that really needed our help. It was just an incredible experience. And part